Welcome, dear listener, to a journey where myth and wisdom walk hand in hand beneath timeless skies. Imagine the quiet hush of an ancient city, where marble columns guard secrets older than memory itself. In the heart of this city stands Athena, goddess of wisdom, courage, and guiding light of thoughtful minds. She does not speak with thunder or flame, but with whispers woven into the olive leaves of her sacred tree. Legends tell of a throne not made of gold nor stone, but crafted from the essence of pure understanding. This throne is hidden, not in temples nor palaces, but in places where seekers pause to listen and reflect. Tonight, I invite you to walk softly through these stories, guided by Athena's gentle and enduring spirit. You are not a bystander here. You are the traveler, whose steps echo in the halls of myth and meaning. Every path you follow, every voice you hear, will weave together lessons that shine beyond the ages. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let your heart grow still, for wisdom begins with silence. The throne awaits, not as a prize, but as a mirror for the soul, waiting for you to sit and awaken. Let us begin this journey, where each story is a key, and every moment leads closer to the Wisdom Throne. The night is quiet, and the stars shine like patient eyes, watching over a world that never stops asking. You walk along a narrow path, where the stones feel smooth, worn by countless travelers before you. The air holds a soft fragrance of earth and leaves, like a secret garden waiting for its story to be told. Ahead, you see a grove where olive trees rise, their silver leaves whispering in the soft breath of wind. These trees are not ordinary. They have stood for centuries, guardians of peace, keepers of memory. Each branch stretches outward as though reaching toward the sky, carrying silent prayers in their form. You pause, for something in the stillness feels alive, as if the place itself is waiting for you to listen. The grove is not empty. It hums with a quiet music, woven from rustling leaves and hidden streams. When you close your eyes, you hear a whisper, gentle and kind, as if the trees speak in Athena's voice. Wisdom grows not in haste, the whisper says, but in roots that reach deep and branches that reach wide. You feel the meaning more than hear it, like sunlight resting warm upon your skin after a long journey. The olive tree has always been Athena's gift, a symbol of peace, patience, and the prosperity of life. Long ago, she planted it not as a weapon, but as a promise, a reminder that wisdom nurtures, not conquers. As you walk deeper into the grove, the air grows brighter, though no flame or torch can be seen. The light comes from the leaves themselves, glimmering as though each carries a spark of eternal truth. You place your hand upon the rough bark of a trunk, and it feels strong, yet gentle beneath your touch. The tree does not resist you. It welcomes you, steady and calm, as if sharing its strength with your soul. The whisper returns, carried on the wind, weaving through the branches like a song without beginning or end. To seek wisdom, it says, you must learn to listen not only to voices, but to silence and stillness. You open your eyes, and the grove seems larger now, its path stretching farther than you first believed. Every tree holds a story, every branch carries a memory, every root touches a truth hidden deep below. The olive leaves tremble lightly, and you see patterns form, shapes of words too old for language to name. But your heart understands them, for wisdom speaks beyond words, and meaning shines without sound. You step forward, and each footfall feels lighter, as though the ground itself lifts you in gentle guidance. Soon you arrive at the heart of the grove, where one great olive tree towers above the rest, ancient and vast. Its trunk is wide enough to hold centuries, its branches vast enough to touch stars unseen by the eye. Here the whisper grows stronger, not louder, but closer, as though it rises from within your own chest. Humility, it says, is the first root of wisdom. Without it, no tree can stand, no seeker can grow. You feel a quiet truth settle in your heart, clear and soft, like water filling an empty vessel at dawn. You think of all the times you have rushed for answers, or spoken when silence would have taught more. And in that thought, you see the meaning of Athena's olive: patience, humility, and the peace of listening. The grove does not vanish, nor end, but it changes, becoming part of you, as though you carry it inside. You look once more at the silver leaves dancing in the breeze, and you know this lesson is your first gift. The whisper fades, but the stillness remains, a stillness that feels alive, guiding you onward in your path. The journey has just begun, but already your heart carries the seed of wisdom, planted in silence and care. You step out of the grove, carrying the memory of whispers and the promise of truths yet to be revealed. You leave the olive grove, but its whispers remain, guiding your steps with a calm you had not known before. The path ahead winds through hills where the air grows cooler, carrying scents of stone and distant water. Shadows stretch long across the ground, yet the sky glows softly, as if night and day share the same hour. In the distance rises a shape. Not a temple, not a palace, but something older and hidden from the world. Its walls are carved into the cliffside, covered in ivy and moss, as if time itself tried to hide its truth. You draw closer and feel the weight of silence, not empty, but filled with the breath of ancient secrets. At the entrance, two tall columns rise, plain and unadorned, yet strong, as though they guard eternity. You step inside, and the air grows cool, carrying a scent of earth, parchment, and forgotten wisdom. There is no throne of gold, no jeweled seat awaiting kings, but an empty hall glowing with quiet light. The walls shimmer faintly, not with paint or stone, but with stories etched in patterns of light and shadow. You see shapes moving, scenes unfolding, people listening, learning, creating, all woven into the walls. The hall is alive with memory, each flicker a voice, each light a fragment of wisdom preserved in silence. And then you see it. At the far end, raised not high but modestly, rests a throne unlike any other. It is not carved from marble nor forged of iron, but formed of woven branches, stone, and gentle light. The throne breathes, not with power, but with presence, as though it waits for one who comes in humility. You approach slowly, each step echoing, and with each echo you hear words faint and familiar. The wisdom throne, the whispers say, is not built by hands, but by the choices of hearts seeking truth. You stop gazing upon it and feel no desire to claim it, only a pull to understand its silent mystery. The throne does not invite possession, it invites reflection, a mirror for the one who dares to look. You notice the seat is empty, yet filled, for it carries the weight of countless seekers before you. Each seeker left behind a lesson, a piece of their heart, a fragment of understanding woven into its form. You place your hand near it, not touching, and feel warmth like sunlight at dawn rising through your palm. The hall shimmers brighter, and the throne whispers a truth you had not yet heard. Curiosity, it says, is the spark that begins every path, the flame that guides but does not consume. You remember your first questions, the ones that pulled you to walk, to seek, to listen to the olive trees. and you realize curiosity is not a hunger for answers, but a love for wonder, a reverence for mystery. The throne glows faintly, as if pleased, and the hall itself seems to lean closer, listening with you. You sit, not upon the throne, but upon the steps before it, resting like a guest before an old teacher. The light grows softer, wrapping you in quiet understanding, as if Athena herself rests nearby. You know this moment is not the end of your journey, but a door opening to greater lessons ahead. The throne does not demand, does not command. It only reminds. Wisdom is a path, not a crown. You rise gently, bow your head, and step back, leaving the hall as quietly as you entered. Outside, the world feels changed, though it is the same, for your eyes now see with deeper clarity. The columns stand silent behind you, and the whisper of the throne still echoes softly within your heart. You walk onward, knowing the Wisdom Throne is not something to find once, but to discover again and again. The road carries you onward, away from the hall, into fields where the horizon glows with gentle morning light. Your steps feel lighter now, as though the whisper of the throne still guides the rhythm of your walking. The world is wide and open here, with grass swaying like waves and the sky stretching in endless calm. Yet within you rises a quiet stirring, the pull to ask questions you cannot silence, nor should you try. For curiosity is no burden. It is the flame that keeps the traveler awake, searching for more than shadows. As you move, you see a figure by the roadside, seated calmly upon a stone, eyes bright with gentle wonder. It is an old philosopher, simple in robes, his hands folded, his gaze lifted not to the earth, but the sky. He does not speak at once, yet his silence is not empty, for it feels like an invitation to listen deeper. Finally, he turns toward you, his voice soft, as though woven from patience and rivers that never rush. You seek wisdom, he says. Yet do you know the first step that opens the path to understanding? You hesitate, for many answers come to mind, but each feels heavy, uncertain, as if it would not last. The philosopher smiles, not mocking, but kind, as though he too once carried the same restless questions. Humility, he continues, is the doorway. Without it, the heart closes, and no truth can enter. His words fall like gentle rain, and you feel them soak into your thoughts, softening your restless mind. He explains that curiosity without humility becomes pride, chasing answers not for truth, but for power. But when curiosity bows, admitting what it does not know, wisdom has space to plant its seeds. You sit beside him, and together you watch the sky, where clouds drift like questions without answers. Look, he says, pointing upward. The sky holds all, yet claims nothing. That is humility. The lesson pierces you not like a blade, but like light breaking through clouds, quiet and undeniable. You think of the olive grove, where silence spoke more than words, and the throne that did not command. Each place teaches the same truth. Wisdom is not seized, but received by those willing to remain open. The philosopher lifts a small stone from the ground, turning it slowly in his hand before placing it back. Even the smallest stone, he says, knows its place upon the earth. Should we not learn the same? You feel a calm grow within you, like roots reaching downward, grounding your restless spirit in stillness. For the first time, you realize humility is not weakness, but strength that does not need to prove itself. The old man's eyes soften, and he nods, as though your silence now speaks the answer you once sought. He rises slowly, and with no farewell, walks down another path, leaving only the echo of his lesson. You remain a while longer, letting the wind move around you, carrying the faint sound of his words. When you finally stand, the world feels different, though nothing has changed, for your sight is clearer. Each step forward now carries not haste, but gratitude, for even the road itself has something to teach. The fields seem brighter, the horizon closer, as though the path itself welcomes you with gentle hands. And within, the fire of curiosity burns steadier, no longer wild, but balanced by the quiet root of humility. You walk onward, carrying the philosopher's gift, knowing it will guide you to the next lesson ahead. The path bends gently toward a valley, where a quiet river flows, its waters shining under the rising sun. You follow its course, listening to the murmur of currents, steady and calm, as if the river itself speaks. On the far bank stands a bridge of simple stone, old yet strong, carrying countless footsteps across time. As you step upon it, you see another traveler resting halfway, gazing at the flowing water below. He is young, yet his eyes hold depth, like someone who has walked through questions heavier than years. Without turning, he speaks softly, his voice carrying over the river's gentle song. "Do you know what it means to balance?" he asks, as though the question belongs not to him, but to the air. You pause, uncertain, for balance seems simple, yet the word carries a weight that feels endless in meaning. The traveler gestures toward the water, where currents swirl, sometimes fast, sometimes calm, never still. Wisdom, he continues, is not in choosing one side alone, but in walking the line between them. You watch the river split against a stone, forming ripples that meet again, flowing onward together. Balance is not stillness, but harmony. The dance of opposites finding their way without destroying each other. The traveler rises, placing one foot on the narrow edge of the bridge, steady as the stone beneath him. Life pulls us toward extremes, he says, yet Athena's gift is to walk between, neither blinded nor broken. You feel the truth echo inside, like the steady rhythm of footsteps that never falter. Balance between mind and heart, thought and action, silence and speech, is the core of wisdom's path. He steps down again and smiles, not proud but calm, as though balance itself rests in his being. He points to the bridge beneath you, strong though weathered, holding steady between two rushing banks. This bridge teaches the same, he says. It endures not by resisting the river, but by standing with it. You realize then that balance is not an achievement to grasp, but a practice to live each moment. It is the breath between thoughts, the pause before words, the calm within joy or sorrow alike. The river glimmers brighter, reflecting the sky as if agreeing with the lesson carried on its flow. You and the traveler stand in silence, both gazing outward, listening to the voice of the water. It says nothing in words, yet everything in rhythm, teaching balance through its endless, patient song. At last, the traveler bows lightly, placing his hand over his heart as a gesture of quiet farewell. He walks to the far side of the bridge, his figure fading into the brightness of the valley ahead. You remain a while, your hands resting on the stone rail, feeling the bridge's steady strength beneath you. The river continues on, carrying its lessons to the sea, yet leaving you changed upon its banks. When you step off the bridge, your heart feels lighter, as though it carries both silence and sound at once. You walk onward, the rhythm of balance guiding your pace, neither hurried nor slow, but steady and clear. The path ahead shines with possibility, and within you, the third lesson roots itself in quiet strength. Balance, you know now, is not the absence of struggle, but the harmony that keeps wisdom alive. The path leads you higher now, winding toward hills where the air grows cooler and the earth feels ancient. You step carefully, hearing the crunch of gravel beneath your feet, each sound sharp against the quiet morning. Ahead stands a grove of olive trees, their branches twisted with age, yet rich with silver-green leaves. The trees sway lightly, though no wind stirs, as if they breathe with a secret life of their own. In the center of the grove sits a woman, her figure calm, her hands folded gently upon her knees. She does not move at first, only watches the horizon as though reading messages written upon the air. When she speaks, her voice is quiet, yet it carries through the grove like water flowing over smooth stones. "Do you know patience?" she asks, her eyes never leaving the distant sky. You hesitate, unsure, for patience is simple to name, yet difficult to practice in the rush of life. She rises slowly, walking toward one of the olive trees, her hand brushing its rough, weathered bark. "This tree has seen countless seasons," she says. "It does not hurry the fruit, nor fear the barren months." You notice the tree's trunk, scarred yet strong, its roots deep, holding firmly to the soil beneath. Patience is not waiting in stillness alone, but trusting that time itself ripens what cannot be rushed. She plucks a single olive from a low branch and holds it before you, small yet full of meaning. "This fruit took years to form," she says, "yet within it lies oil that can feed, heal, and light homes." Patience, then, is not idleness, but quiet faith that growth will come when the season is right. You feel the truth of her words, remembering moments when rushing led only to loss and empty hands. The woman kneels again, tracing the soil with her fingers, drawing circles that ripple outward like water. "Wisdom," she whispers, "is not only knowledge, but the courage to wait when haste would blind the heart." You close your eyes and breathe, listening to the silence of the grove, heavy yet gentle, alive with meaning. It feels as though the trees themselves hold their breath, waiting for you to understand. Patience is strength, not weakness. A discipline that protects wisdom from being drowned in noise and haste. The woman turns back to you, her gaze soft yet steady, as though she sees the doubt within you. "Many seek answers in a single day," she says, "but Athena's throne is found only by the patient traveler." Her words settle deep in your chest, a weight and a gift, a reminder to walk slowly and listen. The grove around you seems to glow, the leaves catching the sunlight like silver fire in the morning air. You imagine the countless years these trees have stood, bearing witness without complaint, teaching without words. You bow your head in gratitude, knowing the fourth lesson has been planted within your heart. Patience is not the absence of desire, but the wisdom to let time shape what must yet come. When you lift your gaze, the woman is gone, leaving only the whisper of branches swaying overhead. The grove feels emptier, yet fuller too, as if her presence remains in the silence between the leaves. You step away slowly, carrying the taste of patience, like unseen fruit ripening in your soul. The path stretches onward, waiting, unhurried, and you follow with steady steps, guided by Athena's quiet light. Within you, patience takes root, reminding you that wisdom grows not in moments, but in lifetimes. And so the journey continues, each lesson shaping the traveler, each step leading closer to the hidden throne. The path carries you forward, weaving through hills that open to a meadow bathed in golden afternoon light. The air is warm, filled with the hum of bees, the fragrance of flowers, and the gentle murmur of hidden springs. In the center of the meadow, a circle of stones stands, arranged as if in silent conversation with the sky. A figure waits there, seated upon one of the stones, cloaked not in fabric but in the stillness of thought. His eyes are closed, his breathing slow, and the quiet around him feels heavy, yet inviting. As you draw near, he speaks without opening his eyes, his words rising like ripples across calm water. "Do you know silence?" he asks, his voice steady, carrying the weight of both question and answer. You hesitate, for silence is everywhere and nowhere, a presence both feared and forgotten in the rush of life. The figure smiles faintly, still unmoving, as though he hears the hesitation in your heart. Silence is not emptiness, he continues. It is the canvas upon which wisdom paints its truth. You lower yourself onto one of the stones, feeling its cool strength steadying you in the meadow's quiet air. The world seems to hush, the hum of bees fading, the whisper of wind holding its breath. Silence, you realize, is not absence, but presence, a space where every sound finds its true meaning. The man opens his eyes at last, their depth reflecting both vast skies and unspoken depths within. In silence, he says, we hear not only the world, but ourselves, and the voice of wisdom within. You close your eyes too, breathing deeply, letting the stillness wrap around you like a gentle cloak. At first, your thoughts rush forward, tumbling like waves, but slowly they soften, dissolving into calm. In the quiet, memories surface. Moments you overlooked, voices you ignored, truths you hurried past. Silence holds them gently, not judging, only reflecting, like the meadow's pool reflecting the endless sky. The man rises and walks to the center of the circle, his steps measured, light upon the grass. He lifts a hand, and with it, the meadow seems to deepen into a greater quiet, profound and eternal. This, he says, is where wisdom begins. Not in noise, but in the courage to sit with silence. You feel the truth pierce gently, as if silence itself speaks, more eloquent than words ever could. In silence, patience breathes, balance roots, and truth shines like hidden stars in the depths of night. The man bows slightly toward you, his gesture slow, his presence as calm as the stones themselves. Then he vanishes, dissolving into the stillness, leaving only the echo of his words upon the meadow air. You sit longer within the circle, listening not for sound, but for what arises when all else falls away. The silence is alive, carrying the pulse of the earth, the breath of the sky, and the whisper of Athena. When you finally stand, the world feels different, lighter, clearer, as if every sound now carries meaning. Each bird's call, each rustling leaf, each breath you take feels like a gift, born of the quiet within. You leave the meadow slowly, carrying silence with you, not as emptiness, but as a companion of wisdom. The path ahead feels brighter, though nothing has changed, save the way you now walk within it. Silence has taught you that wisdom is not always spoken, but often waits in the stillness to be heard. And so, the sixth lesson settles into your heart, a steady rhythm beneath the flow of your journey. The path now slopes downward, leading you toward a valley where twilight gathers in soft shades of violet and gold. The air is cooler here, touched with the fragrance of herbs and the sound of crickets hidden in the grass. In the valley's heart stands a well, its stones worn smooth, its depth shimmering with reflections of fading light. Beside it, a woman kneels, drawing water with a clay jar, her movements steady and graceful as a ritual. She looks up as you approach, her eyes bright, reflecting both the sky above and the waters below. "Do you know truth?" she asks, her voice calm, carrying no judgment, only the weight of timeless curiosity. You hesitate, for truth is a word often spoken, yet rarely understood in its fullness. The woman smiles faintly and gestures toward the well, inviting you to look into its depths. You lean over the stone edge, peering into the water where your reflection shimmers, bending with every ripple. This well, she says, does not create images, but reveals them, though never without distortion. You watch as your face wavers, shifting with each breath of air, never still, never entirely clear. Truth, you realize, is not a single surface, but a depth that requires patience to truly see. The woman lowers the clay jar gently, drawing water that shines in the twilight's quiet embrace. Truth is not always easy, she says. It reflects not what we wish, but what simply is. She offers you the jar, its weight solid in your hands, its water cool against your skin. You lift it to your lips, tasting clarity. Simple, pure, free of sweetness, yet full of life itself. Truth is like this water, you think. Not always comforting, but always sustaining, always real. The woman kneels again, her hands resting lightly on the stones, her eyes steady and serene. To seek truth, she says, is to face reflection without fear, and to drink without longing for sweeter lies. Her words echo inside you like ripples spreading outward, touching places you did not know were waiting. You glance again at the well, seeing not just your reflection, but fragments of memory and unspoken desires. Truth does not hide them, nor condemn them. It only reveals what is already there to be seen. The woman rises, her movements quiet, her presence like the well itself, steady and unchanging. She bows slightly toward you, a gesture of offering, as though truth is hers to share, but never to own. Then she steps back into the twilight, her figure fading until only the well remains in view. You linger, listening to the soft murmur of water below, endless, patient, beyond the reach of time. Truth is not a prize, you realize, but a mirror, a companion, and sometimes a burden carried in silence. Yet, in its weight lies freedom. For what is seen clearly no longer binds with shadows of illusion. You step away from the well slowly, carrying the taste of truth upon your lips, cool and unwavering. The valley darkens gently, stars beginning to scatter above, their reflections shimmering faintly in the water. With each step forward, you know truth will remain with you, steady as the well, deep as the night. The path ahead waits in shadow, yet your heart feels lighter, for truth has lit a flame within. And so, the seventh lesson joins the others, shaping you quietly, guiding you nearer to Athena's throne. The path leads you upward once more, toward a ridge where dawn breaks gently after a night of silent stars. The horizon glows with pale fire, and the air feels alive, carrying the promise of something yet unseen. At the ridge's crest, you find a simple altar, carved from stone, adorned with offerings of grain and flowers. Beside it stands an old man, his posture steady, his gaze fixed on the rising sun beyond the hills. He turns as you arrive, his eyes bright with warmth, his face lined with years, but softened by kindness. "Do you know gratitude?" he asks, his voice carrying a tone both tender and profound. You pause, searching your memory for moments of thanks, yet sensing the word holds more than polite habit. The man gestures toward the altar, where simple gifts lie, humble yet offered with reverence and care. "Gratitude," he says, "is not measured by the size of what we give, but by the heart that gives it." You watch as the sun climbs slowly higher, painting the sky in hues of gold, pink and soft violet. Light touches the altar, and the offerings seem to glow as though accepted by the dawn itself. The old man kneels, his hands resting lightly on the stone, his lips moving in a silent prayer. Not a request, you realize, but a thank you, given freely without asking for anything in return. You close your eyes, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, the steady breath of the morning air. Gratitude rises quietly in you, not for grand things, but for small moments. Breath, light, silence, the path. The man rises again, smiling gently, as though he can see the understanding beginning to unfold in you. To live in gratitude, he says, is to see each day as gift, each breath as a blessing undeserved. His words settle deep, weaving with the lessons of patience, truth, and silence, forming a thread of wholeness. He takes a loaf of bread from the altar, breaking it into two, offering you half with steady hands. You accept, tasting its warmth, simple and nourishing, carrying the flavor of both effort and generosity. Gratitude is like this bread, you think. Ordinary, yet sacred, meant to be shared rather than kept alone. The old man nods, as if your unspoken thought has reached him, his eyes shining with quiet approval. Gratitude, he says, is the soil where wisdom grows. Without it, even truth becomes heavy, even silence cold. The ridge grows brighter, the sun now fully risen, spreading its light across the valleys and fields below. Every detail seems sharper. The song of birds, the glitter of dew, the strength of stone beneath your feet. You bow your head, not to the altar alone, but to the world itself, alive and present around you. The old man places his hand gently on your shoulder, his touch both grounding and releasing. Then he steps back, his figure dissolving into the brightness of morning, leaving only the altar behind. You linger a while, your heart fuller, each breath carrying the warmth of thankfulness within. When you finally turn away, the path feels lighter, as if the world itself has become your companion. Gratitude has taken root in you, shaping the way you see, the way you walk, the way you receive. And so, the eighth lesson joins the others, a quiet flame of thankfulness guiding you closer to Athena's throne. The path winds into a forest where sunlight filters through leaves, scattering golden patterns across the ground. Birdsong echoes above, weaving with the rustle of branches, moved by a gentle, lingering breeze. In a clearing, you see a young girl sitting beneath an oak tree, her hands busy weaving wildflowers into chains. She hums softly, a tune without words, carrying innocence, yet filled with a wisdom beyond her years. As you step closer, she looks up, her smile bright, her eyes glimmering with the light of unspoken wonder. "Do you know joy?" she asks, her voice like laughter caught between breath and silence. The question startles you, for joy is often fleeting, glimpsed in moments, rarely grasped or understood. The girl pats the grass beside her, inviting you to sit where sunlight falls in patches of gold. She places a flower crown gently on your head, its petals cool, carrying the fragrance of meadow air. "Joy is not hidden," she says. "It is in simple things, if we learn to see with open eyes." You listen to the birds, the wind, the hum of bees, all blending into a quiet song of existence. The girl's laughter rings out suddenly, light and free, as she chases a butterfly through the clearing. You watch her spin and leap, her delight unburdened, flowing like water, bright as fire in the sun. When she returns, breathless and glowing, she kneels to show you the butterfly resting on her finger. "Joy is like this," she whispers. It lands softly, not to be caught, only welcomed when it comes. You nod, feeling the truth in her words, as the butterfly lifts again, vanishing into the forest light. Joy is fragile, you think, yet powerful, carrying strength not from weight, but from its very lightness. The girl weaves another chain of flowers, offering it to you with a smile too wide to refuse. You take it, realizing joy is not always found, but often given, shared like sunlight across faces. She leans back against the oak tree, closing her eyes, her laughter lingering in the air like perfume. To live with joy, she says, is to dance with life, even when the music seems faint or far away. Her words linger inside you, weaving with the lessons of truth, silence, and gratitude already gathered. You close your eyes too, breathing in the scent of grass, hearing joy in the ordinary rhythm of the forest. When you open them again, the girl is gone. But the clearing glows as though she remains within it. You feel lighter, as if laughter itself has joined you, walking quietly yet playfully at your side. Joy, you realize, is not a goal, but a presence, hidden in small sparks, waiting to be noticed. The crown of flowers rests gently on your head, its weight reminding you to carry joy with you always. The path ahead shimmers faintly through the trees, each step echoing with the girl's simple, radiant wisdom. And so, the 9th lesson joins the others, a song of joy weaving through your journey to Athena's throne. The path bends toward a river, its waters wide and calm, flowing with a steady rhythm older than memory. The current glimmers beneath the sun, carrying reflections of clouds that drift lazily across the open sky. On the riverbank sits a fisherman, his line cast into the water, his hands resting with patient stillness. He nods as you approach, his face weathered by years, his eyes steady as the flowing river itself. "Do you know humility?" he asks, his voice low, like water brushing stone, unhurried and enduring. You pause, sensing the depth of his question, unsure how to shape an answer beyond quiet thought. The fisherman smiles faintly, gesturing toward the river as if it holds the answer you seek. "This river does not boast of its journey," he says. "It flows, giving life, never asking for praise." You watch the water slide past, endless and uncomplaining, carrying silt, fish, and fragments of fallen leaves. Humility, you realize, is not weakness, but strength that bends without breaking, flowing without need of applause. The fisherman pulls gently on his line, drawing up an empty hook, his face calm, untouched by frustration. "Not every cast brings reward," he says, "yet each cast matters, for it honors the river's endless gift." He casts again, his movements slow and deliberate, each action a lesson hidden within quiet practice. You sit beside him, listening to the steady hum of water and the faint cry of distant birds. The world feels softer here, as though the river's humility has wrapped everything in gentle acceptance. The fisherman reels in once more, this time drawing a silver fish that gleams like liquid sunlight. He does not cheer nor boast, but holds it gently, thanking the river with a whisper you almost miss. Then he releases the fish back into the current, watching it vanish into the depths with a smile. "Humility," he says, "is knowing we do not own what we receive, but only borrow it for a time." His words ripple through you, settling like stones at the bottom of your own river of thought. The fisherman gathers his net, leaving behind no mark but the memory of quiet lessons shared. He rises slowly, his body bent yet strong, shaped by years of listening to the wisdom of water. Before he leaves, he places a smooth river stone in your hand, cool and grounding against your skin. "Carry this," he says, "not as treasure, but as reminder of the strength found in flowing low." You close your hand around the stone, feeling its weight anchor you with calm, humble steadiness. The river continues its song, flowing as it always has, unbothered by praise, untouched by pride. You bow your head to the water, to the fishermen, to the lesson carried within their quiet example. As you step back onto the path, the stone rests in your pocket, a silent companion of humility. The air feels lighter, the world calmer, as if humility has smoothed rough edges within your spirit. And so, the 10th lesson joins the others, a river's strength of humility guiding you closer to Athena's throne. The final stretch of the path opens before you, leading toward a great marble stair bathed in golden light. The air hums with silence, not empty, but full, like the pause before the first note of a sacred song. At the top stands the throne of Athena, carved of stone yet glowing as if touched by eternal flame. Its form is simple, not adorned with jewels or gold, but radiant with quiet power and presence. As you climb, the lessons you have gathered rise within you. Patience, silence, truth, gratitude, joy, humility. Each step echoes with their weight, yet instead of burden, they lift you, carrying you higher with ease. The marble cools beneath your feet, grounding you even as your spirit feels lighter than air. At the final step, you pause, breath steady, heart calm, the throne before you like a beacon of wisdom. Then you hear her voice, not from outside but from within, clear as a stream, steady as dawn. A throne, she says, is not for ruling others, but for ruling oneself with clarity and compassion. Her words ripple through you, awakening every lesson, weaving them together into a single living thread. You see the silence that teaches listening, the truth that unmasks, the gratitude that softens, the joy that heals. Humility flows among them, binding all with the strength of rivers that bend but never break. You step toward the throne, expecting grandeur, but instead find a seat both plain and unassuming. Its stone surface feels smooth and cool as you sit, not like victory, but like coming home. Athena's presence surrounds you, not as a figure to worship, but as a light already within you. You sought wisdom, her voice says, yet wisdom was seeking you, waiting in silence, in truth, in humility. The path you traveled now feels like a mirror, showing that the throne was not the end, but the way. Wisdom, you realize, is not a prize to hold, but a life to live, a light to share. You close your eyes, breathing deeply, the lessons alive inside you, no longer fragments, but one whole. The throne does not bind you, it frees you, teaching that true power is gentle, patient, unafraid of quiet. You rise, no longer the seeker but the bearer, carrying the flame of Athena into the waiting world. The stair behind you shimmers, not vanishing but stretching endlessly, for the path of wisdom never ends. As you step down, the air feels alive, the earth steady, the sky vast, all part of your new throne. Athena's voice lingers once more. The greatest throne is not stone, but the heart that rules itself with wisdom. You walk forward, knowing the journey continues. Each step another lesson, each breath another gift. The throne of Athena remains behind you, yet also within you, woven into silence, gratitude, joy, and truth. The path ahead opens wide, no longer daunting, for wisdom now walks with you, steady as your own shadow. And so your journey ends, yet begins anew, for the throne is not a place, but the way you live. The wisdom throne of Athena is yours, not to keep, but to embody, to share, to let shine in the world.